So if you want to get better at trading, then you need to watch this video, because I'm going to show you exactly my strategy. 80% win rate over the past few years, and I have got over 100k in payouts over the past year or so with Apex, Lucid, various other firms, and I'm going to show you what I do. So basically, the best trade I've taken recently, which I'll show you here, was this one on last Friday, which was an absolute banger. I do take these inverted fair value gap trades, so you can see there's one here. I'm just going to go through my strategy as I explain why I took this trade. So basically, I'm going to write this down for you so you can see. What I'm always looking for is, I'm looking for a sweep of liquidity. I call them major sweeps. They're big, obvious sweeps of lows. I want to see a bullish reaction. I want to see good momentum back to the upside. Then you're looking for a IFVG or an inverted fair value gap. Very, very simple stuff. The best ones are 3 candle pattern V shapes, although they don't have to be. Sometimes there are other factors, like if the momentum's really good, you can still take them. I still take 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 candle pattern V shapes depending on the situation. And then I'm very simple. I just target a 1R, and then I scale half and break even the rest. And then I just leave runners for liquidity. It's really simple. Really, really simple. Recently, things have been a bit tough in the markets. There haven't been that many trades because we have basically been going sideways for the vast majority of, the past, I would say, month, really. And overall, the market's been going sideways for months and months at this point. But you do still get some absolute banger trades. Let's take a look at this one here. So, this one, absolutely beast trade. You can see here what we've got. We've got our major sweep. We obviously had CPI here as well, so we do have a good liquidity target above, which is this data high. Then you can see what have we got. Let's take a really granular look at what we've got here. Really bullish reaction to the sweep. Good momentum, inverted fair value gap. Enter on the inversion like this. I copy trade about 30 accounts. I risk about $200 per trade. My stop loss is a manual close if we come back below the gap. I usually have the sizing about halfway between the gap and the low. Give myself time to get out if it reverses at about what I'm risking, and then I'm targeting my 1-for-1 as I said. You can see here 1-for-1 gets hit pretty much straight away, and then I actually in this instance, because it happened so fast on the 1 minute, I basically just trailed my stop on both of these pretty much up to the highs here for about a 2-to-1. So I made about $400 on this trade, risking $200 per account, and it really was that simple, guys. This is not a difficult strategy to master or to even learn. The real mastery comes from being able to be patient in the market and wait for good setups. So I'm going to show you a few more from recently. To be honest, over the past, I would say, what we're looking at here, I would say week or two, there's not really been that many great trades. The price action has been pretty bad, but there have been some good, I would say, trades that we could talk about from the past, I would say, coming into the new year and beyond. There was a really, really good trade here. If you look at this, this was on the New Year's, the Friday that we opened up after the New Year's. We had the holiday, obviously. We came down. We had these big move to the downside here. Massive move to the downside. There was a 3-minute in here that I know some people took, but I didn't take this because you can see we didn't sweep the low, so I never would have taken this. And then we came down. We actually came down and started accumulating. Then we got the manipulation after this obvious accumulation here, which also took out some liquidity to the left. Unfortunately, you can't see it on my chart, but there was liquidity to the left like this as well as this liquidity here. We came down, we took multiple liquidities, and then we came back up here with this beautiful 5-minute. It didn't actually close on NQ. If you look here really closely, you can see this didn't close over the gap, but there was a 3-minute which was in the same place, which I won't be able to show you because I haven't got enough data history. But you can see this fulfills the criteria for me. We're a massive discount. We've obviously come down. We're accumulating. We're getting accumulation. We get manipulation and then distribution back up here. Really, really obvious stuff for me. After accumulating for a while, sweeping liquidity, getting this bullish reaction. Look at our checklist of things we're looking for. We've got a major sweep of liquidity, not just this one, but one to the left as well that we can't see. We've got a bullish reaction. We've got good momentum. This is a nice candle. As you can see, we've got a good 20 points or so of momentum after sweeping the low, which is good after all this accumulation. You can see this is a pretty decent candle. We've got an inverted fair value gap, which was on the 3-minute, which I believe looked like this. It was something like this, basically. And then the 3 minute closes over it. It wasn't a 3 candle pattern V-shape. I think it was a 4 or 5, but I still took it because I liked the idea of this trade. And then very simply, I entered on the 3 minutes somewhere here. As I said, I always scale for about halfway between the low and the gap, targeting a 1 for 1. You can see in the space of the next 5 or 10 minutes, we hit the 1 for 1 here. I take half off at 1R. So $100 bagged on that position on all my accounts. And then we've got a pretty obvious trend line liquidity that I'm looking here and thinking we're probably going to sweep this. So I'm just holding 4 runners for liquidity above as I stated here. And then I trail my stop loss on my other half of my position up to about a 2.5R or so. So I made about $350, $400 on this trade in the end. And as you can see, we basically started tailing off in liquidity because we were near the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the session. So overall, I thought this was a really good trade and another good example of how this strategy can work so well. So let's take a look here. There was another great trade here that I took straight after this. January had a lot of good trades for my model. Now, like I said, major sweeps are a big part of my strategy. But if you do get yourself a 3 candle pattern V-shape on the 5 minute, and we are still sweeping liquidity, maybe just a minor sweep, this is why I'm talking about context and why it's really important. Because if you see, look at this pattern trade here. This is essentially like people would call it a pattern trade. You have got a sweep of liquidity because we've built up liquidity here for the past hour or so. We come down sweep, but look at how bullish this reaction is here to this gap. If you look here, you can see we've come down, we've technically swept this low here, and look at this candle. This is why context is really important in trading, because obviously we don't get our major sweep, but we get a minor sweep and a really bullish reaction. We get ourselves really good momentum back up. This candle here closes over the gap with no top wick at all, which makes me think this is really bullish, really bullish, because you would not close a candle over a fair value gap after a liquidity sweep with no top wick unless you were pretty damn bullish. And you can see we've kind of formed ourselves some liquidity above here as well, with a pretty obvious trend line area that's probably got loads of stop losses that want to get swept. So like I said, you can wait just for major sweeps, but if you do see ourselves a 3 candle pattern V-shape with a little minor sweep, you can consider whether or not you want to take this. So as you can see here, I did take this on my accounts, as always risking 200. So about 4 micros here. You can see I'm sized on my long indicator here for the amount that I would risk, $200. So 4 micros. You can see this one took a little while to play out. It didn't go straight to 1R like a lot of my trades do. You can see we actually came down, back tested back into the gap, but never closed below. So I'm never going to close. I'm a manual close back below. As you can see, we came up and then hit the 1R. And then this was an interesting one again. So I scale half here. What a 1R, so that's $100 per account bagged. I go break even on the rest as always. And then this was an interesting one because you can see here that we basically were taking this trade before open. We start pumping up, we get to a 2R. I decide I'm going to trail my stop on this because I don't want to be missing out on profits and getting wicked out at break even at open, because I know that the open is coming. We come into 2 o'clock, we get a really great bullish candle for the macro at 2. As you can see, obviously this is 8 o'clock if you're in New York, but I'm on UK time, as you can probably tell. So basically we're coming into New York. New York is at 1:30 for me in the afternoon, which basically means that I'm thinking, okay, if we're going to go into New York here, I'm not convinced that we're going to pump. So basically I'm trailing one of my micros up here for about 2 to 1, so that's another 150-ish, $200 profit. And I've got my final micro, which I trailed up. I got up to about a 3 to 1 on the final micro before getting stopped. And as you can see, it was a good job that I did it because we came down and hit the break even here before continuing higher after the open as well. So basically, another good trade, another $400, $500 profit on my accounts bagged on that one. That was another great trade. Although it didn't have the major sweep, you can see that it was a good trade in hindsight. There was another trade here. I think it was a 2-minute trade. I'm going to circle this because it's just really difficult to find things sometimes. I hope I've got enough price history for this 2-minute. I might not have enough data history. I don't think I have. Look, I'm miles away from it. It's really annoying. But there was. You're going to have to take my word for it because I don't have the price history right now. But if we look on the 5-minute here, there was here a 2-minute long that I did take. And you'll have to take my word for it, but if you go back and find it for yourself, you will find this trade. There was a 2-minute gap that was formed in this area here like this that I did take. So this one here, again, what are we looking for? We're looking for major sweeps of liquidity. We've come down, we've swept all of these wicks. You can see this one here, all the way down to this one here, which was a really, really obvious liquidity. We didn't quite sweep this low here, but I was confident after sweeping this bunch of liquidity for taking a long. What have we got? We've got major sweeps. We've got a bullish reaction. There was a 2-minute gap here, guys. You need to go and find it for yourself if you don't believe me. I guarantee you there was a 2-minute gap that closed somewhere in this region here. I remember taking this trade. As you can see, taking this with about $200 risk as always. Targeting a 1-for-1. The entry was somewhere just before this candle closed. And basically, it had all the criteria I was looking for. Major sweep, bullish reaction, really good momentum back up. And we were coming into the macro here, which I really felt like would send us in a reversal, which was nice to see. It was actually a 4 or 5 candle pattern V shape, I think. On the 2-minute and the 3-minute, there was a gap here. So I took this, as always, you can see here. I'm sized for about halfway between the gap and the low. We come up and we hit the 1-for-1. I take $100 off half my position and then go break even. Very, very nearly get stopped at break even on this one. I remember thinking that it was a real shame we were rejecting this 5-minute gap here. So I thought I was going to get stopped. I very, very, very nearly get stopped at break even. And then we go outside the macro, so obviously a little bit of chopping around. But then we hit the macro here again. Nothing happens again. We do come up with a little bit of a pump on the macro here, as you can see. We get up to around a 2-to-1. I think I actually scaled another one of my runners at this point. I've got 2 runners left. So I think I scaled one at about 2 point. I was trailing it up here going into the macro, thinking we might accelerate and V-shape. Because, you know, when we go into the macro, we do tend to hunt down liquidity in the opposite direction. I think I got about a 2.5-to-1 on that micro being trailed up in this area here. I think it was more likely to be a 2-to-1 if I'm being conservative. So another 150-ish, $200 maybe bagged on this trade. So I'm up about $250, $300 overall. And I've got 1 micro left, and I'm basically just trailing it. I wait till the next macro, which was here, and then we accelerated up, as you can see. And I think I actually trailed it up to around a 4-to-1 or maybe a 4.5-to-1 when I got stopped again before open, because I didn't want to get my position, I didn't want to get stopped at a break even when I had so much profit already. Another $400 or $500 bagged on this trade. Really, really easy stuff. And then we move on. I'm sure that there was another trade here. I think there was another trade on this week. I think the Thursday was a bit ass. We just dumped and then chopped around. I think it was here. I think there was a 1-minute. Yeah, I remember this week now. There was definitely, it was a 2-minute actually. Do I have the price history to do this? Let's see. I need to get myself the extended price history. I don't think I've got enough price history to go back to this. But you're going to have to take my word for it again that there was a trade here. And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that will show you this trade as well. You can go back and find it for yourself as well. So this is the trade. This is another trade that I took for this week. Overall, January was fantastic. February has been ass. But January was really good for this strategy. We've just been waiting for... So basically what happened was there was a 2-minute gap in here like this. You'll have to go and find this for yourself. But I guarantee you 100% that this absolutely happened because I saw so many people take this trade. But you can see it's the same story again. Really, really obvious. We've got tons of lows here. You can see we come down. We're moving up into open. We come down. We swing down. We take this low. Then we take this low, this low, this low, and this low. All this liquidity to the side. And then we get a really good bullish reaction as usual. We've got good momentum back up. I entered here. I took it with what we're looking at here, about 2 micros, because this was quite a volatile open. This was about, I think it was a 3 candle pattern V shape actually. And then you can see here, scale 1, go hard, go break even on the rest. And I think I held the other one to about a 3-to-1. I just started trailing this because I wasn't sure how far we were going to go. And I made about $300, $400 on this trade as well. I'm just going to pack it in there, guys, because honestly, I think you don't want me to be waffling at you all day long. But you can see that this strategy is really good. And I do have alerts and signals for this in my own private Discord. If you do want to get access to that, you can get it down below. Make sure you join the community. We've been getting tons of people signing up recently, and we are building a nice little community in there for trading, so get involved. And as always, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Check back for daily videos where I'll be showing you my strategy and more examples. And get yourself some alerts down in the description below. Join the community, and I will thank you and see you in the next one.